let's get obviously he shot to notoriety after that viral video came out, and I think a lot of New Yorkers, it resonated with a lot of New Yorkers.
Artist. An artist respects the silence. It serves as the foundation of creativity. You obviously don't have the talent. You don't have enough respect for yourself or other people, or what it is to express yourself. In music, or any other form of creativity. And I'm an NYU film school graduate, sucker.
Do you want to walk us through the day?
The response was very interesting. The whole thing took place on what was that year, because we no longer do the real holidays. It was the Monday holiday of the indigenous people, Columbus. So it was October 14th. That happened to be a magnificent day.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're down at Wagner Park, south of where I live in Battery Park City. And there's a lot of discussion about redoing Wagner Park. And this guy is blowing this, just, you don't hear him, right? But it was just absolutely awful.
It was bad.
And my attitude about it was that I went up to him and I said, like, can this? Now, some people thought that it had something to do with it being in front of the Jewish Museum. It did not, but that just happened to be
It had
where
nothing
this took
to do with
place.
that.
It's a lovely museum, and Uncle Bob Morgenthau was part of that. But no, it was just the level of breaking the silence down there on a very special day.
On Columbus
Moreover,
Day.
For those of us who had lived through the 9/11, okay, my friend and I were down there a couple of years plus at the time that happened, so we have a real sense, an intellectual and feeling type sense as to the experience that we lived through. And somebody coming around making that kind of racket, it's just not going to happen.
So you think that space should be about reflecting on the attacks
Quiet,
of September 11th?
The silence, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, as the years have gone by, I heard the first one, and I've never heard a sound like that ever.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just unearthly and beyond. He saw the second one. He went to go park.
Your
were
friend.
following the rules,
Yeah.
and he saw the second one fly over South End Avenue. It was crazy.
It's a nightmare.
When I went to meet him at 10:30, the one went down. So by the time I got to him, I had the Ringo Starr silver streak in my Beatle haircut.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we waited till the parking was up and go back to the house. They were taking everybody to Jersey. We stayed. And the trucks by that night were a block long. And Wednesday, I got out, checked everything out, got up into the village, made my way back. Nobody was getting in around. I did. And we left on Thursday.
How'd you get out, on foot?
I just hoofed it. I went up the Esplanade by the water and then made my way over into the village.
Yeah.
And dropped off the mail and talked to people. There were no planes. The air was magnificent. The weather was magnificent. I had closed the windows the night before. I went and got Bob Dylan's album that came out at midnight on September 11th.
I love Dylan.
I still have the receipt that's dated midnight at
Oh,
September
9/11.
Yeah.
So do you think that was a coincidence, or
It just happened.
the attacks weren't a response to
So
the album?
I'm on my bicycle that night of the Monday, the 10th, to go get his album at midnight on the 11th. They were having a private party for Madonna at Tower Records, so that was out. So I wound up at Union Square, got the album with the receipt dated right around midnight into the 11th. The last thing I saw was 1:37 on the clock at the ferry terminal on my way home. And I closed the windows. I came home and I said, it's raining. And that's what saved our house. Because when I went out the next Wednesday, after what happened on Tuesday, the next day, Wednesday, the dust was up to your knees.
You're right.
Right? I mean, it was an amazing experience. So the point being that in terms of the attitude that we take, you shouldn't be making noise. You know? And it was a beautiful afternoon.
Oh, so the trumpet guy was disrespecting.
So I had no idea that this big, tall guy was sitting there, an iPhone on his lap, and he was taping this. I had absolutely no idea that this was going on. And so I just, let loose with this, from a real intellectual
Do you think,
place.
have you gotten to that level before, or was that just a moment in time that was just
this
random?
was completely, just something that came up. I mean, I just felt very strongly about the circumstances, and I let it rip.
About the attacks. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but what he was doing.
He just
you're talking about this you're talking about this now, over 12 years later.
Right.
But the idea of what that resonates throughout our neighborhood forever, that never changes.
Yeah. But there's a moment in the video I got to ask you about. This is a very underrated moment in the video. You check your phone in the middle of the rant.
And you will never be anything. Never. How dare you? How dare you? You miserable, mediocre nothing.
Other people mention that to me, and I just don't know.
You don't know.
I really don't know.
It was
why
probably one
wasn't-
of those chicks that were like, I'm watching you on YouTube right now.
I don't know.
No, maybe.
But apparently that served as a real interesting break in this whole drama.
People have really analyzed those 45 seconds,
Yeah, right.
like broken down by the second.
Right. And the one thing that people don't know is that right when he finished doing the taping, the kid almost ran me over with his bike.
He did.
Yeah, he just missed. And that was something else.
He
that
tried to go
people don't see.
kamikaze you with the bike.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the term for
Which
it. Yes,
would be a
exactly.
reminder of the Second World War,
Well,
which would
I
also
mean-
be
I mean,
disrespectful.
My people came over on the Mayflower.
On the Mayflower.
Yeah, I am on that side of my
But
family.
you're Levinson.
Yeah.